Yo, YouTube, it's Anox the Darkness, also known as Shakillington of Color Struck, and I'm here to do another video. What black people think about voting? Now, one, the first thing you need to know is that black people are not a monolith. That means we don't all think alike. We're all not alike. We all don't like the same culture. We don't all listen to the same music. We are all different people. Okay, sad that I have to say that. But unfortunately, you have to let people know sometimes because it's like all black people this, all black people that. There's no, all black people don't feel the same and act the same, and even a majority no, because we are all from different places. We're all scattered amongst the United States of America, so we're all have our own individual cultures. Even within hip hop, you see that there are different cultures, right? The hip hop culture in fucking California was a whole lot different than the hip hop culture in fucking New York. Completely different things. Now they might have gotten it from New York, but when you go back and look at the music from them, and when they started developing their own style and started adding their own culture versus the same thing on the East Coast, it was a completely different thing. And the South is different from the North. So you got to realize that black people are not all alike. We're different. One, like I said, I usually use facts, and I use some of my opinion. Facts: black people in this country have not had the easy route, right? We haven't had it very easy. Slavery all the way up until pretty much now. So from slavery only up to about civil rights movement, black people, when it comes to voting, we had a hard time. We weren't even considered to be people. At one point, we were property, and then we were inhuman. And then we went from being inhuman to being, okay, you're just less than us, and you don't deserve rights, and you're not American citizens, and you're not even anything. And then we eventually fought for civil rights. Remember, civil rights, not equal rights. We fought for civil rights. We got those, but that really didn't change that much. That just said we can vote. Now, because of that history, black people, in general, I'm just going to use two extremes. There's one very extreme where we don't vote, and there's an extreme where it is your civil duty to vote, right? It is not your civil duty. It is your ancestor. You are doing something your ancestor couldn't do. Your ancestor smiles upon you because you are doing it, such things. Yes?
Hello. Do you have a class right now?
No.
No? Okay, because Moses has class, they're saying they're supposed to come here, and I didn't believe that.
So this is the thing. In 15 minutes, I'm going to come get them, and we're going to go outside. Make sure they have their coats. It's not the whole class. It's only a select few. It's like 8 of them that I grab up.
Is that Diamond?
Destiny? Not Destiny. Diamond. Because that's I can't remember. Is Diamond, Jamila? I'll come get them now.
Okay.
I'll come get them now. Yeah.
Because I was making sure because they I don't want them like waste time walking in the hallway. Maybe have.
Yeah. Tell them hold tight. I'll be right there with them.
That's fine. Thank you.
So I'm supposed to be doing something with my students. We're going to go outside and we're going to record a scene from Color Purple for Black History Month because we're making a museum for our school. Fucking around with you guys. Anyway, voting. Black folk hadn't had it really too great in this country, so we have two extremes. One extreme where you have to vote, it's your civil duty, and the other extreme is like, fuck that, voting doesn't really work. Now, the people who believe we should vote, typically it feels as if most of them are like, okay, Martin Luther King fought and died for this. I don't really believe that. I feel like Martin Luther King died because he was starting to get a little more radical as time went on. He was also speaking about economic freedom because African Americans do not have economic freedom, whether you like to believe that or not. We don't. Just because we have Floyd Mayweather who gets $40 million per fight does not mean we have economic freedom. Economic freedom essentially means we could open stores in our own fucking community, right? And eventually it'll branch out and stuff. But instead, what ends up happening is we get denied of those loans that you need and the backing that you need. And instead, what ends up happening are the Chinese and the Asians and the Arabs. They come in our community. They set up stores, all types of stores. Doesn't matter what type of store, and they basically fund themselves off of the black community. We have a big spending power we're not even allowed to do. So Martin Luther King was fighting against that before he died, and that's why I believe he died. Economic freedom. That's why he got killed. They believe that because Martin Luther King died for those rights, he fought for those rights, got beat up for those rights, that we should respect those rights and we should all vote. There are, in the other extreme, black people believe we should go ahead and black people believe we should there's on the other extreme, some of these black folk believe that voting isn't going to help. Like somebody like Corey Holcomb believes that black people shouldn't vote because it really doesn't do anything. Why they believe this is because I'm not entirely sure, but I believe it's because black people we've essentially made our vote worthless. It feels as if. I think that's what I heard Corey said. I'm not sure, but black people have made our vote worthless because we are somehow too reliant on like the Democrats or per se, mainly because of what happened with the racism or whatever, right? Remember, the Democratic Party wasn't always heavily black. What ended up happening was they ended up switching spots. The Democrats and the Republicans ended up switching spots, and the African Americans with the Democrats because the Democrats were a whole lot less racist, quote unquote, which I don't really believe. They were just hiding. They just hid it better, right? The Republicans are just like, we don't like you Negroes. At least we're honest about it. You know what I'm saying? So they believe that our votes aren't really counted, or we don't really mean anything. It don't really mean anything because by our vote being cheap, politicians don't really promise us things, or they'll say they'll do this and this for the black community. We're too loyal, and we just give them a vote instead of the reason why we have Hillary Clinton fucking whipping and nay-naying is because our vote is cheap. If we see that and we see that she's doing black stuff, the young black people and black people will go ahead and vote for her. We've made it cheap. That's part of the reason why some people are like, no, they're not going to do anything for us, so there's no point in voting. Voting doesn't mean shit, right? Some people, I feel like some these people on this extreme don't really understand the concept because the whole electoral college versus the popular vote situation, and they do that to make it equal because some like the popular vote doesn't necessarily represent everybody in the middle of the country, and some people's in some spots, so they do it in a way where they break it down, where they try their hardest to make it equal. I don't know, the popular vote to me is kind of fucked up. Not the popular vote, the electoral vote is still kind of fucked up, but it is what it is. I feel like it's kind of obsolete too. There should be other ways of doing such, but we have yet to figure that out, or we can figure it out. We just got to work towards it. But that's what I believe black people believe. Some black people believe because we fought for those rights, we should use them. And other black people believe that they don't mean anything, mainly because as black people, as in general, we've made our vote cheap. Instead of, we had Barack Obama in office 8 years. We voted that man in, and we didn't ask him for anything. Well, we got healthcare from him, which 70% before he came along, 70% of African Americans did not have healthcare. Now we all have healthcare. Not all of us, but a significant amount of us now have healthcare with the ACA. So that's what I believe black people believe about what black people think about voting. Now there are other people. Me, I vote maybe the elections happen like every 2 years. So depending on whether I paid attention to a politician or not will really decide whether I'm going to vote. Like, for example, I don't just vote on the primaries and the general election. I actually vote on like when we have, like, because I live in D.C., mayors, the Board of Education, I guess you call them propositions, stuff like that, ward councilmen and stuff like that. When I can, I vote for those things too. A lot of people don't understand, at least from my own perspective, that we need to vote for that because that's how you get local change. And local change can even spread. So you get local change going on, you can possibly spread that out, get it going to other places, other states, other counties, other states, other regions, and then maybe to a whole America. But you have to start small and work your way big. You can't go big every time, and that's why at least I feel like a whole lot of black people don't. A lot of black people do vote. They only vote on the big elections, and then a whole lot of us just don't fucking vote at all. So that's at least what I think black people think about voting. Let me go get these students. God.